What's up, guys? It's another episode of Rock Chalk Film Room. I'm Shreyas Laddha. I have my guy, Carter Stanley. And it's been a little bit of some time since we had a film room breakdown. You know, a lot's happened. Kansas has made another bowl game, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Second straight year, another bowl game. It's in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. They're playing UNLV December 26th. Should be a fun one. Kansas, I think, is heavily favorites right now. I think 11 to 13-point favorites. But between then and now, lots happened. Andy Kotelnicki, offensive genius, left for Penn State. I think a little bit of a shocker, but I mean, we talked about it. The more you think about it, the more it makes sense, right? And in between that time span, they've hired Jeff Grimes, a guy who is coached at BYU with Zach Wilson, made him a first-round quarterback or helped him make a first-round quarterback. Baylor helped him turn around from 3 wins to 11. He has pretty impressive coaching resume, and he's been doing it for a minute. And now he's assistant to, head coach Lance Leipold and co-OC with Jim Zabrowski. So should be an interesting wrinkle and function because Jim will be calling plays at the bowl game. But yeah, just a lot going on, Carter.
Yeah, definitely. It's exciting. Sad to see Andy go for sure. He was really, really good. And I think he's going to have a lot of success at Penn State and, probably end up being a head coach here within the next 3 years, if I had to imagine. But sad to see him go, but Coach Grimes definitely has an impressive resume. I think he's coached under some really good head coaches. And like you said, he's had success, whether that's just the overall team or developing quarterbacks. And that's definitely good to see. So, I'm excited to see it get going. I think luckily they have a full off season with spring ball and fall camp to get the new offense down, but definitely excited to see it.
100%. And I think no better way to kind of figure out what Kansas fans can expect than a little bit of a breakdown of what we've seen in the past with Jeff Grimes' offense at BYU and at Baylor. And I know you guys asked some questions, so we'll try to answer those throughout the videos, but I'll let Carter get started on the first one.
Yeah, so I think Coach Grimes, he's definitely going to want to establish the run, which is great, especially for, the players that Kansas has. Hopefully we can, retain everyone who's eligible to come back, mainly the running backs. And, I think Coach Grimes ran the ball really well at Baylor when he was the coach there. And, I think what we're going to see a lot more than what we saw under Coach Andy is just a lot of under center stuff, or not a lot, but a lot more under center stuff. So this play here, I cannot wait to watch us run this. You'll notice actually a little pre-snap motion. I think he'll still motion a good amount, but nice little under center toss to the running back, great blocks. And you'll actually see the left tackle is going to get out wide, looping around. With the athletic offensive lineman that KU has, I'm really excited to see stuff like this.
Yeah, it feels like with him, at least the offenses that have done well have been strong offensive line offenses. It seems like if those things do well, everything seems to fall in place. And I feel like, Lance has talked about it. They had a pretty quick turnaround from Kotelnicki leaving the job to them hiring Jeff Grimes. I mean, he invited him to a bowl practice basically immediately after he got fired, and the conversation kind of started from there. And obviously, in the college football world, coaches get let go fairly unfairly all the time. It seems like this might have been the case. I mean, they were a number 70th ranked offense, which isn't terrible, but it's not amazing either. But I think Baylor had their own issues this year. So I'm intrigued to kind of see, like you said, them go under center more. And I think one of the questions we got was, how difficult is that for a QB to adjust to? And how long is that learning curve from, being out in shotgun and more often?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a learning curve, and it takes time to adjust. And, as far as, well, I guess my personal experience, like I was under center all my entire youth football career. I go to high school and it was nothing but air raid offense. And then I go to Kansas under Coach Beatty, nothing but air raid offense. So for 8 years straight, it was nothing but shotgun snaps. And then Coach Les Miles comes in my last year, and, we're taking 60 to 70% of the snaps under center initially. And I was like, whoa, like, it definitely a transition. And, I think it's great that they do have a full off season, spring ball and fall camp. And, I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's some fumbled snaps those first couple of spring practices, but they'll definitely get used to it, and it'll become like a normal thing for them. So I don't think the adjustment will be too bad, but initially it might be a little shock for some of those guys. So this next play here, this is actually very similar to a play that Shreyas and I covered earlier in the season. I think it was maybe our first episode. Against Illinois, just kind of down by the goal line. This time they're in shotgun, and very similar concept to what Coach Kotelnicki and the KU offense ran last year. But what you're going to get here is kind of a pick play. Sure, I'll say it, and just get a wheel route from the slot receiver there, wide open. And I definitely want to see some of these in the new offense.
Yeah, I know. I think Lance mentioned it. They're going to have a lot more screens, and I'm guessing there'll be a lot more pick-type plays. How big of an advantage do you think that is to kind of, with this Kansas offense, with the shiftiness of the players they have between Devin Neal, if he decides to come back, and some of the other wide receivers and tight ends, and obviously even with, for example, if they decide to scramble, and they set some pick plays and picks there. How big of an advantage do you think it could be to utilizing the skill set of this Kansas team?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It'll be interesting to see. I think, again, it starts with a run, and I think they are going to try to establish the run. But in the pass game, we still have a number of good, talented receivers coming back, and, guys that have had a lot of experience, which is just so valuable. So, I think those guys work well together as a group. And once they have a full off season under this offense, I think you're going to see, some really open receivers and, some really effective plays in the pass game.
100%.
So another play here. I love this. This is, kind of similar to what we've seen out of Coach Kotelnicki's offense in the past, where they all huddle up kind of right by the ball. They let the center go, burst out quick, just kind of a quick huddle, and a lot of creativity here. This looks like something the Chiefs would run, or the Miami Dolphins even, and, get a little reverse. Defense is just completely off guard, wide open touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pre-slap kind of motion there a little bit. Do you expect that? I mean, Kansas's offense is filled with, I think, pre-snap motion. Do you expect that percentage to be as high with Jeff, kind of at helm?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say because, Kotelnicki, he had more motion than anyone in college football, I think. I don't know if he finished number one in the country, but tough to say as much. But I think they will do a ton of motion, which is great. I hope they do as much motion as possible, just because you're seeing it more in the NFL in all levels of football. Like, pre-snap motion is such a huge advantage for the offense, and, really everyone on offense, but specifically the quarterback, just kind of clear up the picture, clear up the coverage, and just makes it a lot better, and, gives guys leverage, whether it's receivers, tight ends, offensive line. It's really advantageous to get a lot of pre-snap motion.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. I feel like like you said, it looks like a Miami Dolphins, Kansas City Chiefs type play. I feel like we've definitely seen that in NFL more. And I mean, they're all copycatting each other, right? Kotelnicki says he's one of the biggest thieves in the country, and they're all copycatting Kansas, and Kansas is copycatting this, that, and I think that's great. I'm really excited to see how innovative this offense can be with Jeff, in the sense that if they're using more screens, if they're using more motion, or even a little bit less. One of the things I'm interested to see is, do you think there'll be a little more QB sneaks? I know I was watching some Zach Wilson film, and they used him at the goal line. They QB sneak him a decent amount, it felt like. And with how beefed up that Jalen has been, I feel like there could be an opportunity there if Kansas is willing to kind of sacrifice a little bit of wear and tear on Jalen's body.
No, for sure. There's definitely a fine line. It's interesting because the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't think they've run a single QB sneak since Pat Mahomes got hurt back in like 2018 or something. And, I think that is to a fault. Like at some point you got to get over that and just kind of do a QB sneak with an athletic guy behind a good offensive line and try to get 6 inches. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I don't want us doing QB sneaks like the Eagles do with Jalen Hurts. I don't want him to be doing half a dozen QB sneaks a game or whatever and risking his health. But I think we definitely could see more QB sneaks. And, one interesting play that has become more prevalent in all of football, I'd say mainly NFL, but you'll get the quarterback in the shotgun motion in a tight end. He lines up right behind the center, snaps the ball, QB sneak. And, if you're looking to still do a QB sneak, but without risking your quarterback's health, that's certainly one way to do it.
Yeah, I think that would be cool because Kansas has a good job of getting some beefy guys at skill positions. And we talked about Zach Wilson. I think I wanted to talk about. Let me know if you feel like this feels a little like deja vu of what you've seen in Kansas's offense this year.
Play action after setting up the run and take a shot. Yes, sir.
I feel like we saw that from Jason Beam at least once or twice every single game. And I think, between Jalen's arm or whoever they bring in case Jalen is hurt or whatever, I anticipate they're going to have those, deep shots because it feels like that's a staple of Kansas offense is play action, deep shot. And they seem to connect more often than not, and as Kansas, I think, keeps on getting better and better, it'll be interesting to see the caliber of receivers they can bring in that can be, even better at going and getting some maybe jump balls or going and getting some tougher looks. I think Kansas, compared to a lot of teams in the Big 12, does a tremendous job. And that's a lot of it is to the players, but also Andy in getting guys open and creating space and separation.
Yeah, definitely. And, watching Coach Grimes and, Zach Wilson, his BYU tape, you saw a lot of that. You saw a lot of deep shots, mainly off of play action. And, we all know Jalen is certainly capable of throwing the ball deep. And, we got some big wide receivers that can get down the field and be a real deep threat. So definitely looking forward to, seeing some deep shots here this upcoming fall.
Absolutely. I think that's pretty much at our end. Anything to add, Carter?
No, I think that's it. Definitely looking forward to next week's episode before the bowl game. Really excited. Get a chance to get 9 wins in a season and, get some great experience in a bowl game. And, I'm excited to see Coach Z call some plays in that bowl game. And, hopefully he lights it up and Jason Bean's able to go out with a big-time performance to seal his career.
What a ending to his, I think, really up and down college career. But, I think he deserves that after the season he's put together and kind of really, putting Kansas on his back when Jalen went down. But I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see how Coach Z looks as a play caller. And I'm excited to see what he changes up and what he doesn't change up from what the offenses look like up to this point.
Definitely.